Welcome into Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky. It's the Kentucky Wildcats hosting the USC Trojans, the Women of Troy, here in Lexington, Kentucky to finish the final battle of the Bluegrass this weekend tournament, wrapping up here. The Trojans closing with the Cats. A phenomenal weekend of volleyball we've had. If you've joined us today, we welcome you back in. If your first time, you've missed a great day of volleyball. We open up at 10:30 this morning on SEC Network Plus. Kentucky losing to Creighton in a straight sweep. A huge upset for Creighton, and then we followed that back up with a Creighton victory over Northern Iowa, and now we finish the day up with USC against Kentucky, and we'll see if the Wildcats can hold serve at home and step back on top in front of this strong Kentucky crowd out here this evening. A loud crowd supporting their defending national champions, and the opening point goes to Johnny Taylor. It's 1-0 Kentucky here. Allie Stubler will come back to serve as both the teams enjoying the fanfare here at Memorial Coliseum. Back to regular capacity this year, still mass indoors as the nice block goes out of play and the point goes to USC. The Trojans coming in to this match looking to find early season momentum, a 7-8 record last year in year two for Coach Brad Keller. A lot of talent, transfers included with his recruiting class that look to extend to a better record this year as he is, as we said, in his second year at the helm for this Trojan program. Bouncing out of play off the block and a score for USC. First kill of the game goes to Candace Denny as she'll pick up the flush, and we'll see a service come back the other way. Shannon Scully will lead. USC here on the weekend to recap their work, defeating Northern Iowa back on Friday, and then earlier in the day on Friday, losing to Creighton 3-2. A great competitive matchup as we see an early strong start for Taylor, known for her work on the defensive end. A couple of early strikes with 2 kills in the first 2 points for Kentucky. And USC looking for that signature win to open up their season. Their victories against Northern Iowa, Campbell, and CSUN as once again ricocheted out of play. A couple early blocks leading out of bounds for scores for USC. Kentucky coming in today off a win versus Northern Iowa last night, but as we said, their first loss of the season versus Creighton earlier this morning. As we said, Kentucky coming off a national championship win versus Texas. The banner hanging last night in the rafters for the 2020 campaign. A new group of faces for Kentucky this year, some similar, some different, as a lot of freshmen joining the fray. We'll talk about that throughout the match. And also new starters in the lineup this year for the Cats as they look to replace a loaded squad last year. As USC with the early 4-2 lead here in serve one. That skipped out of the baseline and past the back row. Service error in favor of Kentucky, which plugs Reagan Rutherford back in the game. She was in the starting lineup versus Creighton in the opener, had a nice attack throughout the majority of that game, picked up the 3rd most kills. We'll see her early play here. Nice block, though, off the left side, and that's been the star of the day for Kentucky. The bright spot being Maddie Skinner, led the team in kills in the loss versus Creighton earlier this morning and did a phenomenal job off that left block defensively and on the attack. The sister of Avery Skinner, who's the starter on last year's championship team, and now on the Baylor squad is Avery. But Maddie here and taking a big chunk of playing time that could have potentially gone to her sister, and she's so far paying dividends for the Cats. Here's a jousting battle at the net. Kentucky rotates it back over to Skinner off the left block. Here we are at the net, and a nice flush home. Easy down the middle for Elise Geitzinger. She had a very phenomenal first game earlier today as well. Her and Skinner, the two bright spots, is certainly showing off her length and athleticism in the middle of the net. And a service ace opens it up, our first of the game. Emma Grom coming in with the finish. Grom is going to be a key part in helping replace the passing, along with Eleanor Bevan, and trying to replace that role Madison Lilly, but right now Grom living up to expectations. Back-to-back aces gives Kentucky a 7-4 lead. Again, tries to work it low, make it a trifecta. 3 in a row. Emma Grom on fire, and it leads to a USC timeout. A competitive opening few points, but 3 service aces in a row gives Kentucky an early cushion, 8-4 lead here in set 1 at Memorial Coliseum. The final match of the Battle of Bluegrass this weekend. The teams, USC, Kentucky, Northern Iowa, and Creighton. Creighton will be the one that walks away with an undefeated weekend, as they were able to defeat Northern Iowa just a couple hours ago, as we had that match on ESPN Plus, now here on the SEC Network Plus. Kentucky versus USC with you here, as the Trojans quickly hit back out on the court after the timeout. USC are a nice opening couple of points, certainly the underdog here against Kentucky, but again, as we mentioned, great transfer talent, skill around the team, but having real issues with serve receive. I think Brad Keller just wanted a quick conversation in terms of, let's get our head in the game here. You can't be giving away early free points to Kentucky, a team that was 19-1 last year when winning their first set. So falling behind to Kentucky tends to be a recipe for disaster for the opponent. As UK heads out of the huddle, Grom will stay on serve. She'll try to make it 4 service aces in a row. Very rare do you see a trifecta. I've not been in person for a quad 4 in the row. It won't be this time, as she'll finish with the trifecta of service aces. Grom deals it up though for Skinner. Nice touch. Here we go through the center, off the left side. And off the right comes Botkin, who's able to get the kill and slam it home for USC. Brooke Botkin out of Houston, Texas, the leader in kills. Was 78 already on the season, Pac-12 All-Conference last year, and a member of the 2019 U.S. Collegiate team. Went over and played in Japan, so great experience under her belt as a leader here for this Trojan program that's still in the infancy under Brad Keller. Nice job there off the left side. USC able to put back-to-back attacks together and find some scoring. And back to serve, we'll see Botkin still stay in services, awaiting the ball. Not sure what the holdup was there. In on that finish just a few moments ago. We saw off the left side the score from Brooklyn Shermer, excuse me. She'll be a high impact player today to keep an eye on for USC as well. Number 1 on the left front row for USC. There's another blistering ball from Kentucky. Skinner steps out. And we'll set up service here for the Cats, and that's Eleanor Bevan. And if you didn't get to watch her this morning or this season, Eleanor Bevan, a big name to keep an eye on for Kentucky in the starting lineup against Mercy, or for Mercy as a 4-year state runner-up with the Mercy program in Louisville, one of the finest high schools for volleyball in the nation. And she's already a first-year starter here for Kentucky as a freshman. Big shoes she has to fill, obviously, with Madison Lilly and some of the losses of this championship team last year, but she has the talent and skill to potentially fill those shoes, and already off to a hot start here in her first few games as a Cat. Nice dig from the back row from Walker. Here's Stumler stepping into it off the left side. The miscue off the ball. The ricochet goes in favor of the Cats. Well done by Stumler, who does such a tremendous job of hanging in the air just for that extra second. As she comes down, instead of hitting it at the peak, she waits on the follow through and hits it on the way down, catching the defense off guard. Almost another, yes. Make it another service ace for Kentucky, this time to Eleanor Bevan. 4 here in the first 11 points. I think Brad Keller, the head coach for USC, is going to be having a long film session on the way back on service return here for his USC team if they can't get it together here in this first set throughout the remainder of this game as well. Another nice strike, again, as we said, off the left side. Keep an eye on Brooklyn Shermer. A lot of power she punches with her attack. And certainly the family tradition for Shermer. 3 different family members playing for USC in different sports. And her uncle Matt playing Oregon, went against the family, the lone non-USCer, but did play professional at the NFL level for the Bears and Bengals. A defensive tackle has another powerful finish for the Cats. They're coming out striking here in this first set. Maybe some built-up anger after that early performance today versus Creighton. Always great to let out your frustration on your next opponent, and it doesn't help or doesn't hurt when it's just a few hours later in the day. You don't have to wait a couple days for the next game. You can get it out in the same 24-hour period. Nice work there from Teeler and Rutherford, handling the right side of the block for the Cats, able to put in the easy score. Rhea Walker on serve, serving as libero for the Cats today. Shermer tries to go back at Grom. Rutherford, a bit too much height underneath that serve, and it goes out of play on the attack. And we'll see USC back in service. It'll be Paige Hammonds, who certainly is a local favorite here today, from Louisville, Kentucky, Sacred Heart Academy, along with Mercy and Assumption. Three of the big-time schools of high school volleyball, not just in Kentucky, but throughout the nation. Generally, one of those three schools is winning the KHSA state championship, and more than likely they're in the top 5 or competing for a national championship in the high school ranks. She is on the USC side today as Kentucky takes back service. Tharp lays it down the side. Free ball just goes right into the net. I was getting ready to say it goes over, but that was putrid on service return there. Poor bounce from Botkin into the net, and Kentucky in control here, 15-8 in our first set. Cats on, Kentucky hosting USC for the final match of the Battle of the Bluegrass. The Cats will return to service with Lauren Tharp. USC ready for set receive. Already burned their 2 timeouts here in the set, and Shermer will get to place it back over out of bounds. And as you see her pointing to her chest, that play really started with an error from her. Paige Hammonds had to race back to get it to Shermer on the attack, and she was well off the mark on both sides there. So rough possession for Shermer, and not what you want to see after a second timeout in this first set for USC. Just service return has not been their flavor today. Nice roll off the side and a score for Candace Denny, and she'll push in her second kill here on 2 attempts in this opening set. Denny, 22 kills on the year, another transfer to bring over for Coach Keller, a member of the Arizona program. Really great player at her time at Arizona. Tremendous on service, aces 16 last year. 38 blocks to go with 106 kills. When she got her playing time, she played well, and that's somebody that always plays well. Allie Stumler, a beautifully placed ball into the back row, starting to look into midseason form after a rough open to today. Didn't have a lot of success in the opening couple of sets. Started to find a rhythm in the third against Creighton, but off to a much smoother start today. Already 2 kills in this opening set. As that ball splits through Grom and goes out of play off Kentucky, so point to USC. Scully now on service. Laid low through the center. Tharp has to lay out for it, and a tough ball there for Teeler to go into the net. I think they're looking for the call here to see if USC went into the net. That's what Teeler is looking for. Craig Skinner had 2 challenges early today against Creighton. 1 in his favor, 1 in terms against. And it looks like this call is going to be overturned, and I think Coach Keller, who's already been frustrated with his team, now a call going against them here that didn't even need a review. They overturned it on the court. And I think he's running out with the card. He wants to talk first, though, to Bears have been destroying them, especially on serve receive. Kentucky, 4 service aces here in this first set. 3 in a row they were able to put up from Emma Grom, and then a fourth one coming from Lauren Thorpe. That's the difference here early on in this match. Already 2 timeouts burned for Coach Keller. And a good chance for him as well, not only on this challenge to see if he can overturn it, but have a chance to talk with his team yet again to get his message across. The call will return to USC. So the original call, before it was flipped to UK on the court, goes back to the Trojan side. And that will put us from an 8-point difference to 6. USC climbs a little closer here as action resumes. Scully to serve for the Women of Troy. Grom over the side, Skinner, the swipe, and the score. Into the student section over there, half-size student section. Some fans flowing in to near the court, and well-distributed group of fans around Memorial today, celebrating this UK team last night with banner night on the 2020 championship, and support holding over after that run. And Kentucky living up to the billing here against USC. Maddie Skinner with a strike. She's been quiet here in the last few points, but you always have to watch out for Skinner with her athleticism and height. Easily can drop the hammer at any point for a score. USC looking to respond. Flipped over to the left side, and there's Brooke Bachtin again. She is their consistent key to this team. If she's not rolling, USC is in all out of sorts. Not all in sorts, all out of sorts. Right now she's playing well, but the team needs to come with her. 5 kills for Bachtin, hitting 300, but the team hitting just 200 as a whole. This ball's pinballed around here on the rally, and it eventually goes to Skinner. Wild defense usually leads to great attacks for outside hitters, and Maddie Skinner proving that point. Kentucky will come back to serve Grom, who hasn't been in service since her 3 straight aces. See if she can continue the roll here. Getzinger denied back to her. Getzinger did a nice job again trying to hit it on the way down, but returned nicely by Sabrina Smith. And USC, one thing they have in favor against Kentucky here today is Kentucky, a tall, lengthy squad, but USC winning the height advantage here. This entire team seems to be 6'2" and above. In the front row, not a body below 6'2" at times. Usual starting lineup is 6'2", 6'2", 6'3", as we see the ball go out of play. Usually that lineup being Bachtin, Smith, and also to go with it, usually have Denny in the middle block and on the outside Scully. So usually 4 or 5 bodies in there over the 6'2" height range, which is certainly an advantage to keep. Rutherford plays it off the side. A little jousting at the net between Stumler and Hammonds. Fun to see those two go at it. Certainly some great experiences for them playing through the club years over at the Kiva system. Also Sacred Heart, not too far away from Allie's homegrown area of Floyd Knobs, Christian Academy product. I'm sure they've seen each other many times in club action, as there's Reagan Rutherford again making some noise in set 1. Give her kill number 2. And again, similar to Maddie Skinner, when she has an attack, there's usually not many off-speed attempts. It's full driving force. Almost a service ace. Great job keeping it alive there between Scully, who eventually sent it across, punched out of the back line, and a point falls to USC. Great work by the whole USC defense to keep that play alive. It looked like it was going to be an easy service ace for Kentucky. Sam Hastings jumping in off the bench to sub. Hastings in her sophomore season. One of 2 members from Frisco, Texas on this Trojan team. Getzinger heads to the sideline, but not after a powerful punch through the center, and that puts Kentucky at 23-14, 1 point away from set point here in the opening frame. Up through the center, tried to get the drop. Pancake dig does not go for Teeler, and Denny will get the point for USC. As we said, Denny, the transfer over from Arizona, had some good impact on that program, and now joining here as a grad transfer, vital to USC success in this campaign for the 2021 season. A member that's vital for Kentucky, showcasing strength right there, Miss Teeler with another rocket ball through the center. Kentucky now on set point, crowd on their feet. Here's Tharp on service. USC tries to set to the left side. Target practice for Teeler. Hammered home, and that'll take us through one. Kentucky all the way, 25-15 over USC in this opening set. We'll be back with the start of set two in just a moment from Memorial Coliseum in Lexington, Kentucky. It's Kentucky versus USC on the SEC Network Plus. As the coach of Bay to Bay out in Northern California, he won a pair of silver medals at the Junior Olympics, and you talk about the number of D1 athletes he produced in his time. He was an assistant coach as well in the 2006 junior men's national team. So certainly he knows talent and has the pedigree here as he's finally taken over at the helm as head coach for the women of Troy. Opening kill to start set one for USC. As we'll see a couple substitutions here quickly for the Trojans. Shannon Scully hits the sideline and Candace Denny steps in the center. And now back on service, Sabrina Smith, who we haven't had too much time to highlight, but another transfer coming in for the Trojans. And right across the block is where she came from as Maddie Skinner picks up the kill to open up set two. Smith, a UCLA transfer. Not too often you see a UCLA to USC transfer. That's like a Kentucky to Louisville transfer. Very rare with that type of rivalry to pull that off, especially being in the same conference. But she had a great impact for USC, as we talked about. Good transfers here for this USC program. 85 kills and 48 blocks for UCLA last year and only 73 sets. So she certainly has some potential. And with her size at 6'3", not a bad addition as a grad transfer for this USC program. Hammonds will serve it into the back row. Skinner, the Sutter step, and the fire to the back line. That is going to go to Kentucky. And I think they're going to want a review on the USC side. Brooke Bodkin at least looking over at Coach Keller for the review. But I think he is going to pass on the challenge here. Could be that Brooke Bodkin is correct on her wanting a review. But the problem you have to weigh in here, you only get one challenge per set. You don't want to burn it here early, especially after losing that first set. You want to hold that for a more critical point later in this set number two, as USC here with the early lead. Skinner again slicing with power early on in this match. Battle at the net. Getzinger has the net denier, but then also returns the favor as it, instead of going right into the USC defense, it just barrels through the top line and falls over. I don't know if she could do that in 100 more tries. That was just a bad luck, good play for UK. Strike. Out of bounds, no touch from Botkin. She was looking for the call there. I think she knew it was out of play. And UK retakes the early lead here in set two. As we said, Kentucky 19-1 when they win their first set here over from last season to the start of this season. Out of bounds again, that time on the slide. Point Kentucky. And again, errors starting to bite USC after a good little start in set 2. Back-to-back errors give UK a 2-point advantage. Shermer tries to split it through. Nice dig by Walker. Stumler has a chance. Shermer the dig out of the back row. Given off to Hammonds. She's denied. Now Botkin back to it. Walker bumps it to Rutherford. Good job by Shermer. Back-to-back digs in this possession. Botkin goes high and long. Her second error in 3 plays, and the point goes to Kentucky. A good rally between the two squads there, but UK playing a little bit more sound, fundamental volleyball comes away with the score. Eleanor Bevan serving for the Cats as we have a wet spot on the court. Kentucky's side taking care of that. As we said, Eleanor Bevan on service. Get ready to see a lot of her this year, UK fans. She's going to see playing time only grow as she started earlier today, and I think we're going to see her start throughout the rest of the season. If you're part of the SEC faithful that keep up with volleyball, there's a whole lot of talent for that young woman to be a part and starting for this UK team this early on shows her potential. As we see Coach Keller is going to bring a sub in. I think he's fed up with his team's performance thus far here as he just jumped off the bench and sends Paige Hammonds to the sidelines. I don't think necessarily he's upset at Paige Hammonds. I think he's upset at the entire start here for USC, and he's looking just to make any change that can turn this around for the Trojans. Nice job off the left side there. Botkin gets him back in the roll with the score. Sabrina Smith now steps back in. And here's Scully to serve. Grom to Getzinger. Well placed at Kaylin O's, who was back there on the defense. She was jumped a little too ahead of the play, footing-wise, so she wasn't back enough to recover for that dig, and it went right past the top of her head. And I don't know what USC had going for him there. A clear miscommunication and a service ace for Kentucky. Rhea Walker makes it the 5th of the match and a timeout for Coach Keller. Kentucky taking advantage of USC mistakes, winning, using his first timeout of the set, 3rd of the match already, as USC has just had real struggles defensively as a service error goes back on Walker. They've had, at times, good work from the attack standpoint of their front line. As we said, talent in that front row, but on the defensive side of things, they've really been in shambles. We'll see if they can find their rhythm here. And again, a lot of it just comes back to chemistry, playing together, and hopefully tournaments like this for the women of Troy will help build them up throughout this season. And it's a tough test, to say the least, to play the number 3 Kentucky Wildcats here at Memorial on championship banner weekend. That doesn't make life any easier. Botkin sends it into the back row. Grom will distribute. She finds Stumler, who's denied out of bounds, and point to the Cats. Lauren Thorpe will sub in for Rutherford, and will have service for the Cats, a service ace for her in that first frame. Thorpe does a tremendous job as a defensive specialist for Kentucky. Always near the top of the list in digs for this Cats squad. Good pass. Nice 1-2 punch from USC. Beautifully delivered. Mia Tuninga gets her first chance to really get highlighted here today. She's had some nice passing. Passing has Tuninga, as you see, 13 assists to lead the way, and then closed with a nice power punch in the front row by Sabrina Smith. Very impressive work there from USC. Probably the best play we've seen, the 1-2 punch on their offense today. Tuninga gets in the way of Shermer there to keep the ball alive. Stumler off speed and catches O's midair, and the point will return to Kentucky. Oast tries to get it back. Nice strike. But Thorpe in the back row on the dig. Scully to Shermer. Blocked down the line. Grom to Stumler. Again, so well played by Allie Stumler. She has more abilities to score off platforms than I would even venture to say any player in the country, but certainly up there in the nation and at the top of the SEC. It's like a great quarterback who can throw off the wrong foot or sideways or on the run. It just makes you so much more difficult to defend when you have that ability to score off different platforms with different speeds. She can certainly go with a drive ball, line it down at you, but she has the off-speed game as well. As Kentucky picks up another score, there's Teeler in on the action. And the UK fans getting into it right now. 7-point advantage in this second set. Won first by 10. And looking to build upon that here in set 2. Skipped over to Shermer. Nicely played and finished home. That'll be her 3rd kill on the day. As USC again flooding substitutions in and out, just trying to find different looks. And that's certainly a big part of the beginning of this season. You'll see from the USC and Kentucky side, I would assume here in the first 10 games, a lot of different lineups. You're trying to find that core group that you can play throughout the season and hopefully into your postseason. As a rare mistake from Allie Stumler leads to a service ace for USC. Sam Hastings picks up the score. Grom lays it off to Skinner, who lays it to the deck with a rocket shot. Teeler to serve. The UK bench getting into it there on the side. You have to love the reactions from the teammate. Erin Lamb, just a freshman, acting like she passed out over on the sideline for the catch. You have to love the fanfare, even from your own teammates. Nice strike off the left side there again. USC finding a little rhythm off the left side of the net. Picks up the score. O's back to serve for the Women of Troy. Thorpe bumps it up to Grom, who finds Getzinger. Shermer, nice job playing it into the back row. She'll get a chance to attack, and it pays off. Well played by Brooklyn Shermer. She was in a rough angle there off that left side by the antenna, pops it back, and eventually gets it to where she can attack and score, make that her 5th kill on the day. And now USC making it a 4-point game. A big possession here for the Women of Troy. If they can get it down to 3, applying a little bit of pressure to the Kentucky Wildcats. Scanner to the back row. That is her 7th kill and game high for the Cats. Here's Grom on service. Grom, besides her 3 service aces today, put 18 assists next to that and 4 digs. Nice job there from Stumler. Back row defense sets up Getzinger for the finish. And it'll be a timeout for USC. I know it's frustrating for him. Trying to rebuild this program quickly in a COVID era is not an easy task, and a lot of new transfers and freshman bodies. To get them to work together, not the same as the Kentucky team that has new faces, yes, and changing parts, but a lot of similar and stayovers from the championship team of last year. A lot easier to put a few parts together than build a new machine, and that's what they're trying to do here at USC. Denny goes at Walker. Now Grom flips over to Rutherford into the back row. Grom stays on service. Nice teardrop there. Almost led to a joust at the net. They'll work it over to the left side. Skinner steps into it with the right hand. Beautiful dig there by Scully to keep it in play. Missed from the back row, a poor bounce. Can't get to Rutherford. And point will go to USC. Shermer now back to serve for the Trojans. And a service error into the net. And those are the errors you can't have if you're USC if you're trying to make a comeback here. Skinner now back to serve. Kentucky now just 5 points away from a set 2 set point. As we said, 19-1 when they have a first set victory. Trying to add that second and put another nail in this victory as ricocheting around again. Nothing going right here at the moment for USC. Kentucky getting every bounce and outplaying USC in every fashion. USC once again service error problems. An ace for Skinner, now 6 on the day. Kylie Baumert was in the back row as that bounced off her left shoulder. I think, again, USC just having trouble locating and knowing their assignments on service. Botkin does a nice job flipping it over for the score. Able to take a little speed off it, still leading the way in kills now, make it her 8th. But her hitting percentage is lower than as usual, only hitting 174 today. USC 143 hitting. It's a team whereas Kentucky is slamming home an impressive 411. You're not going to lose many games, folks, if you have a 411 hitting percentage. That's very difficult to keep up with if you're the opponent, as UK again wiping some wet spots off the floor. Stumler bumps ahead to Grom, who finds Rutherford off that right side with the left hand. So challenging to defend that left hand strike. I saw it last evening. I saw Jordan Iliff for Missouri, who we'll see in SEC competition this year. She faced off against some competition up the street in Louisville, and very difficult to handle that left-handed strike. So unnatural for defenders, so used to see that right hand. As Kentucky picks up the point, USC looking for the touch, but not in their favor. And now the lead extends to 11. Walker to serve, low across the net. Sends it over to Botkin, who goes at Walker, and that sets up beautifully for Rutherford. That was magic in motion that just fell in the right place for Kentucky. And now a chance to put an exclamation point on set 2, set point. Hammond's denied. And a little bit of Kentuckiana competition. Allie Stumler sends it back. Any success they've had today, anytime they've put together some nice plays, it feels like service return and errors on attacks. That's been the detriment. Kentucky's made some good plays, yes, but USC many times tonight have been the ones taking themselves down. We'll see if they can make the adjustment here between set 2 and 3. Taninga sent it over. Now Teeler off that right side. Here's USC setting up to the left again. Now Stumler on the run. Owes plays it across. Stumler wants a second try. This time goes off speed. Good dig there from Scully to keep it in play. Tharp, impressive herself. Now Stumler, pushes it out of play. The UK fans were about to explode. Everybody's still on their feet in between sets. All the way over on that left side, you see a lot of fans still looking to show support and keep up the enthusiasm. Point 1, though, goes to USC as Taniga will go back on serve. Mia Taniga, 13 assists today, 6 digs. Nice line drive, low, placed over the net. Good service, but Allie Stumler gets a chance back for the score. But point will go to USC. As I believe it's a violation through the middle there by the net. Surprisingly going against UK there. Teeler denied. Back to Grom. Stumler. Third time is the charm. That's Stumler's 6th kill thus far in the game. Throw with that, 5 digs, a block, and an assist. On her way to potentially a double-double. You might see Allie's role certainly not going to drastically change, as you see the nice finish there for the Women of Troy. Well set up by Taniga. Denny on the finish. But you might see Stumler's role change a little bit with Madison Lilly out, and along with a parade of other UK stars that moved on. Avery Skinner on transfer to Baylor. Stumler you may see also on the attack, but sometimes being double teamed, a potential decoy more for Kentucky this year. Certainly she's still going to get a lot of attacks and get the #1 looks, being as great as she is, but she may have to change her game around a little bit. She had that happen in between her freshman and sophomore year, where she went from being the unknown SEC Freshman of the Year to in year 2 she started seeing double teams, and she really had to work to adjust her game. You know, she went from seeing one-on-ones all throughout that opening campaign to there wasn't a double team in the country that wasn't traveling to wherever she was on the court. That's part of being a top-level player. You know the strategy against you is always going to change, so adapting your skills are imperative. As USC picks up the score to get the 2-point lead, Denny will serve. And I think Coach Skinner wants a challenge here. Wants a look back on that one. Also gives him a chance to talk to his team. Always remember, with the challenges, 1 challenge per set, but a great opportunity. If you don't want to burn an early timeout or you're out of timeouts at the end of a set, you can use that challenge, drop it in there, get you an extra 20 to 30 seconds. Even if you know the call is not going to go your way, you can still regroup with your team and basically get a free TO in your favor. But UK looking to overturn that last call. Look back here at the opening 2 sets. It's been UK dominant, a 25-15 opening first set. Kentucky 4 service aces in that opening set, 3 in a row from Emma Grom. That's what led the way. And in set 2, it was the front line for Kentucky really owning the Women of Troy. Maddie Skinner, Elise Getzinger, along with Reagan Rutherford, all big sets. Johnny Teeler as well played quite well. And the call is going to be overturned to Kentucky. And I think Coach Keller wants an earful with the down official. And credit to him, accepts the explanation and moves on. Most coaches still be fighting, but he got an explanation he was satisfied with and able to take the call against him and move forward. Now tied at 3 after the overturn. Shermer, nice split. Way to go on the drive to the back row. Now Denny to serve. That's actually the 7th kill of the day for Shermer. Quietly pushing into the #2 spot in kills on the team here this evening. Leading the way, Brooke Botkin with 9 kills. She's also the team leader with 78 coming into this game. Pushed out of bounds, and now USC a little bit of breathing room here. Kentucky making a couple of errors themselves. And now Denny comes back to serve. You have to be careful if you're any team. You have that 2-0 lead going into the third. You get a team like USC that has not had the most pleasant weekend with some tough losses, especially that 5-setter to Creighton that they had. You know, they're dying to pick up a victory. So set 3 where most teams will lay down. USC, they're not leaving here without something. They don't want to go away with a 3-0 sweep. They were going to fight to the finish. As we see the return score there for Kentucky. Hammonds keeps it in play. only for Getzinger to slam it down with authority. Again, set up on a silver platter. Easier than shots she probably gets at practice. Blocked out of play, point to the Trojans. We'll see some subs coming for the women of Troy. Paige Hammonds hops back in. She'll jump on service. O's will step to the sideline. The game's slowing down a little bit here in the third set. You see USC taking a little bit more times, trying to play a little bit smoother volleyball. Kentucky certainly wants to speed through and keep up the pace they've been at. Some of that you always have to watch, a little bit of gamesmanship. And part of it's just being smart. You know, if you can buy a couple extra seconds, especially when you're the road opponent, to calm down, set up, don't have to rush. There's no rule that you have to rush into the next point. You can take your time. You don't want a delay of game, obviously, but use those couple extra seconds to line up your service and also your service return. Grom skips it over to Getzinger, who again is having an opening powerful set 3. Make that kill 9 to tie her with Maddie Skinner at 9 apiece to lead UK. And now Skinner will go back to serve off the left side. Blocked out of play. Rutherford able to climb the ladder but not keep it on the court. And point to the Trojans. Here's Shermer again back to serve. A few subs to come. Skinner to the sideline and Bevan rejoins the Cats. Rutherford, the teardrop. She can't even believe how open it was. Here's Rhea Walker to serve. She's libero on the day. Of course, libero not always going to pack the stat sheet. Always roaming around. 7 digs and 3 assists with a service ace for Walker. Here's Stumler stepping into it. Another pot shot. Well done. Driving it home, Allie Stumler with authority. And now Kentucky able to take the lead here with Walker at serve after being down here in the early part of this set 3. That set may have been a little far, but Scully keeps it in play. Stumler racing in for the strike. Pinpoint accuracy per usual for Allie Stumler. Brom puts it up to Teeler. Nice block in the middle by Smith. Make it a second in a row. Now off the right side. Down the line goes Rutherford. Walker, low serve. Bakken takes it off the left. Kentucky looks to give it back to Rutherford, who just got the kill. Make it 2 in a row off the hands of Paige Hammonds. And Kentucky now with 4 scores in a row. And Coach Keller letting his team ride it out here at the moment. Trying to figure it out on the fly. Taniga gives it up to Shermer, who rifles it into the net. And now he'll call the timeout. 5 straight points for the Cats, and they extend the lead. Rutherford off the right. Taniga Goes over the top of Stumler. Now back to Rutherford again. Good job by USC there. Does it find the back? It does. Nice punch by Candace Owes. Not how you design it, but they'll take the score. Iowa, Kentucky, USC, and Creighton making up the field. This tournament's been around since 2014. They've had a few name changes, but it's a consistent tournament between usually these four, especially Creighton, Northern Iowa, and Kentucky. They've been here since the inception pretty much every year. And they bounce around with some good competition between those three schools. And with USC in there, adding the West Coast flavor, you see a lot of talent running through here at Memorial Coliseum this weekend. As the score for the Cats out of the timeout, puts it up a 14-11. As we said, USC breaks up their 3-0 scoring run. Likely going to have to make a major comeback, obviously, if they want to come back in this game, but likely not going to be able to pull off a victory here today. But the talent certainly there for a potentially strong season as Lauren Tharp makes the business decision not to race through the chairs over on their sideline. Also don't want to take out your coach. Maybe in a fifth set of a Florida game where it's 9-all, but when you're up 14-11 with a 2-0 set lead here in complete control, no need to risk anything too dicey. As Taniga will go back to serve. Nice low drive that she has on that serve. Very impressed with her passing today at moments, and also has some good serve work that can be a factor here for USC. Stumler off the mark on that strike and out of play. Now USC finds himself back within a point. Coach Keller trying to keep his team in it here. Still fight left, only a point down. These are certainly teachable moments and potential big steps for this USC program. Stumler, after missing, comes back. Beautiful save by Botkin. It's blocked, kept up. Can Bevan get to it? Not enough to save it. Brooke Botkin deserving a ton of credit for that initial dig save and then coming up for the score. Now we're tied up at 14. That's Botkin's 11th kill, leading the way for USC. Kentucky makes a nice effort there. 3 different one-handed digs, couldn't get it over. As once again, some adjustments on the court with wet spots. Heat certainly picking up here at Memorial Coliseum, also the home of Kentucky gymnastics and Kentucky women's basketball, formerly the home of Kentucky men's basketball. Into the net goes Taniga, and that's the last thing the women of Troy need right now is a service error. As I've said, it's been the thorn in their side today. Service errors and service returns. It's been a big difference in why USC has not been able to stay up with Kentucky in this game. Low floater there from Stumler. Owes comes back off the left side with a powering ball. Kaylin Owes showing she has some strength behind that right hand. And now we're knotted back up at 15-all. Grom back over to Teeler. Stepping forward to Skinner. Wide open space for Maddie Skinner to work with. That'll be double digits for her now. 10 kills on the evening. Maddie Burowitz stepping in, and she'll get her first chance to serve here today for the Cats. Taniga comes up to Shermer, and Burowitz caught on the stutter over there. Didn't know where to go with the ball, and the deflection does not pan out in her favor, and she'll sub out And now Teeler steps back into the ball game. Actually, it's going to be Teeler stepping out, excuse me. We'll have libero Walker in the back row now. Rough ball right there for Kentucky. Kept in play by Skinner. Bach into the back row. Nice dig from Walker. Skinner races through the middle and just over the top of the entire defense. That's not strength. It's not skill. It's a combination of the both and some great leaping power. Helps to have all three. Here's Grom on service. Grom on the handle. Gives it to Rutherford. Ball weirdly pops around, flies out of bounds, and that point's going to go to Kentucky. I know Coach Keller, he's looking for the fingertip touch, and initially I agreed with him, and he's going to go with the challenge. So he'll burn potentially his final challenge of the match, and worth it at this point because you go from an 18-16 hold if the call on the court stands to a 17-all tie, and this is make it or break it time here for you. We'll never forget, and takes it to a whole new status, and all the awards they racked up last year. Madison Lilly, AVCA Player of the Year. She's gone and graduated, but still a ton of great returners on this team with Allie Stumler, who you see right there as one of the finest players in the country. Teeler, the addition of Rutherford, Grom, and many more like Eleanor Bevan. The future highly bright for Kentucky in the SEC. As that ball is sprayed out of play, and an error for Kentucky will lead to some subs here for USC. And it will set up Paige Hammonds, the local Louisville product, out of Sacred Heart, on service. So far, Hammonds today, no kills and a dig on her stat line. Skinner steps in, nice block by Taniga. Very few times will you see Skinner get blocked. The point does stay with Kentucky, however. I think Taniga was just impressed she was able to get up there with Skinner. Not many people can. With a 6'3" frame and a vertical that I'm going to bet hits over 25 and upwards of 30 inches. That's one difficult opponent to deal with. And Maddie Skinner, Getzinger, nothing else to say. She doesn't even react. Just a beautiful block. And USC will burn a timeout here. Back with you here on the SEC Network Plus. Kentucky handling serve with the 2017 lead. It'll be Eleanor Bevan to play it over. Taniga gets it to Smith on the roll. A good idea there, but a little wide for Smith. Couldn't get underneath it and taps it out of bounds. Point to the Cats. Fingertip touch will go for USC this time as they'll pick up the score. Shermer now tied with 11 kills to lead the way for USC. And as we take a moment here, as we jump back in after the break, when you look at errors on the game and the difference between these two teams, and first of all, you look at hitting percentage, 229 for Kentucky, 125 for USC. We'll break it down here in a little bit, but just fundamental clean play, kids at home. That's the difference. If you want to make it to this level, you hear our Kathy DeBoer, the former UK coach, on with us all the time talking about fundamental volleyball. The best teams are usually the most fundamentally sound. Here's USC trying to return it the other way. Botkin, high driver, and they're going to say fingertip touch. Point to USC. And now Botkin takes back over with the 12th kill. Nice job returning again. There's Denny making into the fray, and USC again knocking on the door, getting close. But can they threaten Kentucky here late in this third set? And to the point we were talking about errors, the difference in this game, 18-9. USC with 18, Kentucky with 9. 9-point difference. And when you start adding up the points, a couple points here or there and momentum and match, you have a completely different game. But Kentucky's certainly the better team at this point of the season, as USC is trying to fight here and keep themselves alive. Great work here on the line. Oh, miscommunication from Botkin and Denny. Botkin wanted to go up and slam the ball, and Denny trying to work her way in there to return it. Again, we talk about the early season kinks you're trying to work out if you're USC. So many transfers and new players. Everybody's trying to find their own rhythm in game. 23-20 now, Kentucky. 1 point away from match point. Botkin up at the net. And it's out of play, and that sets up match point for Kentucky. Lauren Tharp will serve as Memorial Coliseum rises at once, as Kentucky looks to close the weekend on a sweep. Almost working it through is Hastings. Stumler into the net, a rare mistake for Allie Stumler on the attack. Excuse me, that was actually Lothor, who's now actually back to serve. She was the one with the initial pass. And she'll now serve. Still match point for Kentucky. This time on return are the Cats. USC still in this, down 3, but they need a point, and they need it right now. Kentucky looking to close. Grom. Teeler denied. Still some fight left in this USC team. You have to love to see it if you're Coach Keller. They've been hanging with the punches here all evening. Kentucky burn one to set up service return. USC knocking on the door. Lothor to serve. Over to Stumler for the close. Kentucky leaves Memorial with a roar here. A 3-0 sweep over USC. They finished the weekend going into next week at 5-1. Kentucky's